my last night in China before I fly back tomorrow to the States. Um, I'm just doing a little bit of reflecting. Um, just thinking about, just thinking about, I guess feelings about going back to the States. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but I kind of don't want to go back. I kind of want to stay here, um, not permanently, but it would be nice if I could, if I could spend some more time here in China, out of the year. I think a lot of it has to do with the culture, looking like everyone else and not feeling like an outsider, um, but also family, you know. So I came back for the Chinese New Year, and it was, it was what I expected growing up, because I'd come back to China numerous times when I was younger, and each time I had my family was very welcoming, and always felt like it was actually a real home. Um, you know, and obviously I have a home in the States with my immediate family, my parents, my sister, but here there is more of like a family vibe, and I feel like here they know how to live better. Um, yeah, I mean, if it weren't for the fact that you know all my friends and um, my immediate family is over in the States, I think I want to move here. Again, not I hesitate to say permanently because I grew up in the States, and um, there are certain cultural things that you can never really, or I think it's really hard to kind of get used to here in China. Um, but yeah, man, like something I've always thought about is maybe somehow find a job where I can spend half the time working in China and half the time working in the States. And this trip has kind of, I had that thought a couple of years ago when I had lived in China, and also when I'd visited China. Um, and I don't know, this trip kind of reinforced that, that sentiment in me. I don't know, it's kind of hard being, you know, being in the States and being, I guess, an Asian American who hasn't really quite, I don't feel like I've 100% adjusted to, American culture, even, having grown up there. Um, I guess that's what it's like to be kind of split between two worlds, being, Chinese and also American. So, I don't know, it's, you know, I, this trip has made me think of what steps I can maybe take towards, making my, I guess, ambitions of, being able to travel back and forth between China and the States possible, you know. Um, and so maybe I'll talk about that, later on in another video. But yeah, man. For now, I'll show you guys the scenery a little bit. That is East Lake in Wuhan, China, which is a city in middle of China. I guess I consider the Chicago of China. That might be totally inaccurate representation, but it's in the middle of China. It's a big city that's growing really fast, so I just consider it the Chicago of China. So this is East Lake, which is one of the lakes that kind of touches that's in the middle of the city, I guess you would say. And it's not as many people right now because of the Chinese New Year, because everyone went home to their old cities, and they're kind of like probably sitting at home right now, or like out with family, kind of just sitting around and just hanging out. So there's not as many people commuting, and just so there's not as much traffic at all, which is kind of crazy, you know, for a city with millions and millions of people. Normally it's just so many cars, but now it's pretty empty. And so I'm just kind of like walking around. Anyways, yeah, I guess I'll just wrap this video up, and I have more to say. If I do, I'll post again.